Hi friends, welcome back to my channel. Welcome to this video you never knew you needed. Welcome to this battle of the beasts, battle of the celebrity book clubs. Now, I'm not at all familiar with what the announcers say at the beginning of these kind of fights, these kind of battles, because personally, I don't watch that kind of content. I was gonna say shit, but then I switched it to content so as not to offend anyone out there. This battle today is going to be purely intellectual because that's the kind of battle we support on this channel. The two brain powers we're going to be having fighting for your support, I guess. In the one corner, we have America's sweetheart, Reese Witherspoon, give it up. And in the other corner, we have the unofficial Queen of England, no other than Miss Emma Watson. I've decided to put the book clubs of these two famous and very popular actresses, celebrities to the test because on BookTube it is, or like at least it has been for a while, a kind of trend. The book YouTubers did their own rendition on celebrity book clubs by reading books that celebrities have recommended, especially Jack Edwards, who we of course all know, and also Carly Thorne. Their videos in this kind of genre became very popular. I think to this day on Jack's channel, his video of this kind on Kendall Jenner is like his most viewed video on his channel. Obviously, because everyone was shook when he published it. Everyone went like, wait, she can read? I'm kidding, of course, but come on. If you're a nepotism baby and you're both unfairly gorgeous and successful, you gotta be okay with people making fun of your intelligence or a lack thereof. So no harm done, but you gotta give the people something. Anyway, so these videos gained a lot of traction. But then I wondered, you know what? Actually, you don't have to create these celebrity book clubs by yourself because there are actual celebrity book clubs out there. And these two that we're going to be talking about today are just two examples. I know, for example, also Emma Roberts has her own book club. Lily Singh only recently, and with that I mean I think at the beginning of the year, opened or like started her own book club. But yeah, we're going to be talking about both Reese Witherspoon's and Emma Watson's today because these are the two that I have been aware of the longest, and also I really like these two gals. So let's head right into it. Let's start it off with, I think, Reese Witherspoon's book club because, I mean, to be fair, I didn't do that much research heading into this video, but I do think it's fair to say that her book club is at least among the, if not the most well-known celebrity book club out there. Her stickers, like if a book has been chosen for her book club, you see this book being advertised with that, having like stickers on the cover being the pick of Reese Witherspoon's celebrity book club. I have seen stickers like that, so I do believe her book club is generally wildly well-known. There's both an Instagram and a website dedicated to Reese Witherspoon's book club, so feel free to check it out. I will leave it down below. Let's just go through a couple of picks that have been chosen for her book club. Plus, let's just say a few words on Reese Witherspoon in general. Very accomplished, very well-known, very much liked, I think she is as an actress. Both for the parts she played in Y2 classics such as Legally Blonde or like The Bodyguard, but also like she's a very serious actress. She won an Oscar for, I believe the movie is called Walk the Line, and I believe also her appearance in Big Little Lies, not just appearance but her part in Big Little Lies was very much acclaimed. So like she's a fantastic actress. I believe she also has her own production company. She also seems to be a very sweet human being. I don't believe that Reese Witherspoon has ever in any way, shape or form been involved in any kind of scandal. So there you go. Reese Witherspoon, a solid human being, a celebrity you can be happy to support, which is also why I think that her book club is actually kind of successful because people actually want to support her in the things she does because she is not wrapped up in scandals every month. Anyway, so as I just said, I did not really do a lot of research, I'm sorry. So I don't really know when the book club started, but I think it has been around for a couple of years. Let's just briefly go through some of the picks. We have, for example, 7 Days in June. That was also a book of the month pick. Tokyo Ever After, The Last He Told Me, The Guest List by Lucy Foley, The Henna Artist, Untamed. Like a lot of the books you will have probably seen on big displays in bookshops and are widely talked about on BookTube in general. By what I gauge off of the books I have been read in her book club, I think it is fair to say that she chooses quite popular literature, mostly literary fiction, but there's also the occasional thriller or romance, etc., represented in her book picks. You could see a lot of people, and a book club like that, of course, attracts people from all walks of life, of different ages and sexes and identities and so on and so forth. And I think that's kind of what you can see going through the different book club picks. There's also, for example, Daisy Jones and the Six. So popular books have been read, but also ones that you can imagine a lot of people would enjoy reading, a lot of people would get behind reading together with Reese Witherspoon. The book that I decided to read, because it was picked up by Reese Witherspoon in her book club, I believe it was the May pick of 2022, but I might be mistaken. I decided to read The Christie Affair because Reese Witherspoon basically told me to read it. I do not have the physical copy with me right here because it is still at my sister's place, and it has been for like the past 2 months. I just keep not picking it up, but anyway, I will put up the cover here. So The Christie Affair, that was also, by the way, a book of the month pick, so I'm sure you have at least heard about it in some sponsored segments of that month. So The Christie Affair, as you might already be able to guess by the title, is a historical fiction based around Agatha Christie. If you're not aware, the mystery writer Agatha Christie was involved in a real life mystery because she disappeared for the span of 11 days and never commented on it. No one knows what happened in those 11 days, why she disappeared, where she went, what happened. When she suddenly turned up again, she claimed to have no recollection of where she had been, what had happened, etc. So this actually happened. This is an actual real life mystery because no one ever figured out what happened in those 11 days and why she disappeared and all of that. So obviously, because she was also a murder mystery writer, that leaves tons of room for speculation. People ate that shit up when it was in the newspapers back then, but even to this day, people are still intrigued and interested in what this mysterious incident in Agatha Christie's life was about. So because I do not have the book with me right here, I don't recollect the name of the author. I think her name was Nina, and I think I remembered that because the main protagonist of the book is also called Nina. Or is she? I forgot the names of the characters in the book, except of course for Agatha Christie and her husband Archie Christie, because I read it a couple of weeks/months ago. So the book is actually not written out of Agatha Christie's perspective, but it is written out of the perspective of Agatha Christie's husband's mistress. Agatha Christie's husband, Archie Christie, right before she disappeared, told her that he wants a divorce. Why? Because he has his little mistress and he wants to leave Agatha for that mistress. And I believe her name was Nina, but I could be mistaken. I don't know anymore. And actually, this book is written out of the mistress's perspective. And I mean, of course, Agatha plays a part in the entire story that is being told, as it also, of course, takes place over the span of time when she disappeared. But we also get tons of flashbacks out of the mistress's life, and we learn about her upbringing, the very traumatic thing that happened to her in her early years. And we kind of learn, like, this book is mainly about Archie Christie's mistress, and not so much about Agatha Christie, which is why I think it is maybe a bit misleading calling it the Christie Affair, because that obviously has you thinking that you're heading into this book and it being about Agatha Christie, but it is almost not. I mean, as I said, of course, Agatha Christie enters the scene and these two women also meet and blah, blah, blah. But it is mainly about the mistress's life and her backstory and why she does what she does, also in relation to Agatha and so on and so forth. I still had an okay time, I guess, reading it. I wasn't that gripped by it because I didn't know what this book was going to be about when I headed into it, because I did not listen to what Reese was actually saying about it on her Instagram, but I just read it, and I actually thought this was going to be, well, yeah, a mystery, if not even a murder mystery, about these 11 days of Agatha's life in which she disappeared. But it was nothing of the sort. It's definitely not a murder mystery. It's also not a mystery per se, because we as the audience, we as the readership, we always know what's kind of like going on, where, like, who is where at what point and who is doing what, and it's like the police and other people who are trying to figure out, oh, where's Agatha, but we know. So in that sense, it's definitely not a mystery. So overall, I don't regret picking up the book, but it was also definitely not what I expected, and it wasn't also like not that good that I think I would go out of my way to recommend it to you. But there you go. If you're looking for a historical fiction that kind of well, it takes some historical facts, but then the majority of the book, of course, is like the author's speculation or like the author's imagination, creating events, and it being only loosely based or loosely involving Agatha Christie as a character, as a person. If that sounds good to you, definitely give it a go. You can also, of course, check out what Reese said about it, because this is something I really like about Reese's book club. It has this separate Instagram, but also on Reese Witherspoon's official Instagram, she uploads little like videos just of her talking, or like pictures of her actually reading, like she's actually reading these books that she's endorsing via her book club. She's not just like on the front cover of this book club, but not like actually participating in it, but you can actually tell that she's reading these books and she is giving updates about them and she's sharing her opinion on them with, well, her Instagram followers, but like with any kind of audience that is also participating in the read along, I would say. And I really appreciate that about her, this effort that she's putting into the entire thing. And yeah, as I said in the beginning, I do believe that Reese Witherspoon's book club is very much approachable, even for people who are maybe not reading all that much themselves, because she is picking up books and authors that they're like relevant right now, or like popular. Their books are getting a lot of traction anyway, so people might already be interested in them, and then she's picking them up in her book club to talk about them, to read the book, etc. And that is why I think a lot of people would have a good time joining her book club, because it caters to a lot of people, I would say. So that was Reese Witherspoon in the one corner. Let's head over to the one, the only, Emma Watson. Can you tell I'm kind of biased? I hope you can't. No, it's not a secret. Anyway, Emma Watson. With her too, I'm not exactly sure how long her book club, Our Shared Shelf, has been around. There's also a Instagram dedicated to the book club, but you have to know right now the entire book club is dormant. It is not active right now. And even if there's still like stuff being posted, Emma Watson, as of right now, or like as of I think 2019, is not actively involved with the book club anymore. Like she's not picking up the books anymore or something like that. Now, as opposed to Reese Witherspoon's book club, which, as I just said, does not per se have like a specific theme, so to say, but reads a lot of variation, a lot of just like popular books of the moment. Emma Watson's book club has also been called in articles a feminist book club. Now that of course depends entirely on the author of said article, whether that is to be understood as a compliment or as an insult. You never know how people use the word feminist, I think. Anyway, but I believe that only books by female authors have been picked. I'm going through like a list on my computer right now, and that could actually be true. So that maybe was why someone labeled it as the feminist book club, because only books by female authors were read, but there might be also some non-binary authors on this list. I'm not entirely sure. Emma Watson's book club focused definitely not on like what is hot and pop and popular out there at the moment, but on very important social topics, often focusing around, well, gender roles, feminism, the role of the woman in society, in the workplace, in the family life, etc. Especially compared to Reese Witherspoon's book picks, Our Shared Shelf seems to be more so focused on a certain topic, as I just said. And in that sense, her book club, of course, seems to be way more maybe niche than Reese Witherspoon's book club. Books that were picked for Emma Watson's book club, for example, were Beloved, Pachinko, Rebecca, Milk and Honey, The Vagina Monologues, Hunger Makes a Modern Girl, Persepolis, and so on and so forth. Her book club has overall not been active as long as at this point Reese Witherspoon's has, so there are less picks you can find out there, but the Instagram is still up, even though right now the book club is not active anymore, so you can feel free to check it out. As opposed to Reese Witherspoon, Emma Watson doesn't really have an active personal Instagram profile. She has one, though for a long time in between she also didn't have one, or it was like not activated or something like that. And I think right now, if it's still up at this present point, I think her last posts are like from 2018, 2019 or something like that. So she's definitely not active on Instagram, which is also why I think that she was the one picking out these books. But I don't think she shared her personal opinion about them as much as Reese, for example, does, who uploads actual videos of her talking about these books on her Instagram. I at least couldn't find Emma Watson's opinion on all of these books that had been read in the process of her book club. The book that I decided to read because Emma Watson told me to do so was, or like actually is, as of right now, not yet done reading the book, The Handmaid's Tale by Margaret Atwood. I am about 2/3 through with the book, so no spoilers down in the comments, and I am captivated by this book. This is also partly because it's been so long that I last read a dystopian book, so I am not used to the genre anymore, but it is so fascinating reading this book in a very odd sense, of course, because The Handmaid's Tale is about this horrific totalist regime located in a, well, fictionalized America, like New England America. As I'm not yet done with the book yet, I can't like fully explain everything about it yet, but I think that was the part of the beauty heading into this book, knowing it is a dystopian and like vaguely, but like in the vaguest form imaginable, knowing what it is about. But then that's like part of the fun. As you keep reading, you learn how this dystopian society is constructed, what the rules and the restrictions are, how our main protagonist is living the life she has to live, the life she's forced to lead as a handmaid. Now, handmaids are the very few fertile women that are still left, that are being forced to reproduce, to carry the children of the commanders, because apparently after a very bad and raging civil war in America, most of the population is left being infertile, and the few women, as I just said, that are still fertile are enslaved and forced to work as these sex workers, basically, but not sex workers in the sense as we understand the term today, but are forced to live as handmaids, forced to live with commanders and have their children, and if they fail to do so, there are dire consequences. Our protagonist, we have not yet learned her actual name. She has been given like a new name as a handmaid. That is not her actual name, though. In flashbacks, we learn about her life before this war, before everything collapsed, before this totalist regime took over her world, and how she had a husband and a daughter, how they tried to escape, how that escape obviously failed, how she had been forced to go to this kind of like school of conversion to become a handmaid, how she's now living as a handmaid, being forced to live as one. In these flashbacks, we also learn how this war came to be, how the changes into this totalist society happened one after another. And in that sense, of course, the things you read about are so horrific. The living reality of her and of the fellow handmaids and of everyone living in that totalist society are absolutely horrendous. But because sadly the human mind just works like that, and you're always so oddly attracted and fascinating, especially by really horrific scenarios like that, it is so very fascinating to like read about it, and like page by page you learn more about the setting of this world, of her everyday life. You wonder, of course, about the people she knew from before, whether they are still alive. She doesn't know. Is her daughter still alive? Is her husband still alive? Where are these people? What happened to them in between? I do not know how this book ends. I do not know at all at what point in time we basically leave her again. Is something big and dramatic going to happen at the end? Is she going to reunite with her husband, or is she going to find out that her husband and her child are definitely dead or something like that? Or are we going to leave her on just another normal day? Though that can actually almost not be, because as a handmaid, you're also only given like a certain frame of time. And if you fail to carry a child within that time, you are deemed an unwoman and, well, either executed or sent off to the colonies, which has not yet been described as to what their living realities in those colonies actually looks like, but we can only imagine that that is the worst possible fate next to being killed. I'm very much looking forward to where the story will be going, because as I just said, it is so fascinating to learn about this. And I guess I can give you like a final update in my monthly reading wrap up. So that was that basically. That was our battle of the celebrity book clubs. I think overall I would rather be part of Reese Witherspoon's book club, because I appreciate how we are reading books out of a variety of genres in her book club. But I gotta say, comparing the two books I read for these two book clubs, I am definitely having a way better time with The Handmaid's Tale, because I think it is so fascinating. I could definitely understand why it is a modern classic. It is definitely another dystopian classic that everyone maybe at one point in their life should read, but that's a topic for another video. Which books you should have definitely read before you die in your life. next week maybe. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this. Definitely let me know which book club you would rather join, Reese Witherspoon's or Emma Watson's, and I'm gonna see you in my next video. Bye!
Honestly, don't you two read?